All right, we're going to shift our focus today as we get ready to start session 2 for week 3 mobility and stability series. And as we talked about earlier this week, we're going to start our session with that quick 5-minute warm-up because I want your muscles to be warm so they can be more flexible for the exercises that we're going to be performing. Our focus is going to be different because we are in the second session this week. So today we're going to be looking at hip internal rotation, correcting lat length, opening up the shoulders into that 90-90 position that's critical to the top of our backswing and so we can get full width on our follow through. We're also going to be working on single leg balance with some new drills that I'm going to show you today. And we're going to finish it up with that critical thoracic spinal rotation that's really important for getting proper torso rotation in both our backswing and our follow through. So I'm going to use a bike to warm up, and remember, whatever you have is fine. We just want to get that body temperature up a bit, start breaking a light sweat. So here we go, let's get started. And I'll fill you in on what else we're going to be hitting up today as we get fired up about helping out our game by putting the physical into practice. So it doesn't need to be heavy. We just want to get warmed up. Most clubhouses will have a bike in their fitting room or warm-up area where guys can get ready to hit balls. So you shouldn't be too unfamiliar with the bike or the elliptical or the treadmill. If you are, we'll walk you through it right here. So we don't want the resistance too high. I'm just going to spin up the legs, talk a bit about what we're going to be working on. So remember, we're going to start with lat length correction today. Remember, we want to be able to get our thumbs all the way back over our head, touch the wall if we were to sit up against the wall. If we have reduced lat length, that's going to make it really difficult for us to rotate to the top of our backswing, and it's going to cause us to lift up out of our posture when we go to take our backswing. So we want to make sure that we eliminate that as a physical limitation so we can improve our game. And we're going to get back and work on that hip internal rotation. Now, as I talked about before, hip internal rotation is important for two things. One, that proper weight shift. If we can't rotate our hips properly internally, we're going to have a tough time posting up into our target side leg and loading into our trail side leg. And we're going to have more lateral movement than rotational movement in our golf swing. That's no good because that's going to be loss of power, loss of yardage, and it's going to lead to some inconsistencies in our shots. And that's not going to help our handicap. And I know most of you, that's why we're here. We want to see that handicap drop, and that's why we're chipping away at these physical limitations in the gym. It's a wise investment of our time, so let's make the most of it. And as I talked about before, that ability to get our shoulder into that 90-90 position, we want to see at least 90 degrees of external rotation and abduction. That's being able to get that arm all the way up at the top of your backswing in your golf posture. We don't want to be losing shoulder range of motion when we get down into a dress because that's really going to force us to lift up out of our posture when we go to set up and hit that ball from the top of our backswing. And that's going to create a lot of shot blocks and misses. We don't want to see that either, again, because that's not going to help bring that handicap down. So that's why we're going to target those things. And as I've talked about before, single leg balance, we know that that's important for a proper weight shift. It's also important for a proper weight distribution in your setup. When you can't maintain an equal balance of weight from that heel to toe, you're really going to struggle to maintain that flex forward posture. You're going to stand up out of it, and we know the misses that we're going to see because of it, because that's what plagues us out of the course. So let's continue to work on that with this new series of exercises I'm going to introduce. I don't really need to say too much more about the importance of thoracic spinal rotation. That's that section of your spine between the shoulder blades and your lower back. When we don't have a lot of rotation and extension there, we see a lot of swing faults related to loss of posture. It makes it really tough to get a good shoulder turn on our backswing and our follow through. So we want to do the best we can to improve our ability to rotate our torso. Remember, golf's a rotary sport. We don't like lateral movement because we all want to see as much yardage as possible on each and every shot. So I'm just going to wrap up the warm-up here in another minute. Remember, a good rule of thumb, you want to feel yourself breaking a light sweat. A warm muscle is more pliable, extensible, more flexible. And that is important because what we are working on is mobility, muscle flexibility, and core stability. So we want to make sure our body's ready. We want to make it worth our time, the time that we're investing in the physical, to see the benefits we're looking for in our game. So 30 more seconds and we'll get started. We've got basically the same equipment we've had before. You can follow along. I'll give you some options on what you can use if you don't have some of the items that I have here. So just listen up when we get to each exercise. Now let's go ahead and get started on working on that lat length so we can have a better backswing in our golf game. So first thing we're going to need is a heel lift. I'm just going to use the handles of this TheraBand to plop my heels up on right here. I'm going to set them out shoulder width apart so they're parallel. You can use a 2x4, a block, a half a foam roller, a small step. whatever you have, just place the heels, the edge of your heels on that lift. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to point our thumbs away from our body. And as I squat down, I'm going to lift my arms straight up over my head. So we've seen a lot of these deep squat mechanic corrections, but we're using this with the weights to help correct our lat length because we're really going to try to drive our arms up over our head. So we got 12 reps, 2 sets, and we're going to start our first circuit right here. So let's go. Bring them up. Keep them up there. Breathe out. Try to hold those arms up over your head as you come back up. Count them out with me. We got 8 more. I'm locking out my elbows to try and lengthen out my lats. So I want you to keep that in mind as you drop down into your squat. As your flexibility improves, you'll be able to get those arms up a little higher. We got 4 more. Just follow along with me. Right there. 3 to go. 2, try not to hold your breath, and really work on getting those arms up a little higher over your head every single repetition by pushing into it a little further. We just place our weights off to the side. Remember, you don't need a lot of weight for that. About 3 to 5 pounds is good to start. A couple of soup cans, whatever you have. We don't need a lot of weight. We just want a little bit of resistance to facilitate getting our arms up there and forcing those lats to lengthen out. So let's drop back down into our quadruped or 4-point position. Let's start by finding that neutral pelvis, stabilizing the lumbar spine. Now what we're going to do is hold that arm and leg out straight. I'm going to keep my arm fully extended. I'm going to touch my toe to the floor, engage my glute, and lift this leg straight up and down. So we've gone from a bent knee leg lift to a straight leg lift. Longer lever equals more challenge on the core and the glute. 5 more on this side. I'm keeping my torso stable. 3, by drawing in my abdominals. 2, working on some glute strength here. And 1. Put the hands down. Let's always start by finding that neutral pelvis, neutralizing that lumbar spine, holding in the abdominals. Let's get that left arm fully extended, thumbs up towards the ceiling so we can work on getting some strength in our lower traps to help stabilize our shoulder blades. Extend that right leg up and down. 12, trying not to let your lower back arch on the lift, really isolating that right glute. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Longer lever. Greater challenge on that core stability and glute stability that's so important for maintaining a proper pelvic position in our golf swing. So let's get into that hook lying leg position that we've built on. And what I want you to do is start with both legs up, right here, 90 degrees at the hip and the knee, both hands up. Now I'm going to go left leg, right arm, and I'm going to extend them both out together, but I'm going to have to hold my abdominals in for 2 reasons. 1, to protect my lower back, and 2, to really force the lower back to the floor to help lengthen out the lat. And that's what I'm trying to do by combining this arm movement with this core stability challenge right here. 12 on each side. 11. So remember, in each series, each corrective series, despite the individual focus, where lat length is a focus here, we're still going to be working on elements of core and pelvic stability. And then we're going to incorporate a stretch as part of each little workout circuit that we're going to do in every workout. 2 and 1. Let's go ahead and switch it up. Let's engage those abdominals. Flatten out that lower back a little bit. We're going to go left arm, right leg. I'm really going to try to work my thumb, my left hand, try to get it all the way to the ground. So I'm working on lengthening out that lat. I've got my elbow locked out to maximize the length of my lat. Again, using this core stability exercise as a double whammy to get some core strength and some lat length at the same time. We got 4 more. And I'm breathing into every rep. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's go ahead and sit up. We're going to need our stability ball, and I'm going to show you a great stretch to get a little bit more length in your lats utilizing this stability ball. So we're going to build on that stability ball prayer stretch I showed you, and we're going to add a twist to it now so that we can get a little bit more length in our lats. So I want you to push the ball away from you and curve your body like I'm doing right here so you can feel that stretch all the way from the attachment to the insertion of the lat, really opening it up along that side of the body. I want you to breathe into it and just keep reaching with every breath. And we're going to hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring it back to center. And we're going to rotate it over to the other side. So I'm really just pushing the ball over to one side with the opposite hand. And I'm pulling my hip down on the left side to really work to lengthen out the lat. Right there. And we're going to breathe into it for 8 more seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Try that stretch for a little bit more lat length so you can get a fuller width on your backswing. when you're out on the range. Okay, let's go back to that whole series. So we're going to need our heel lift again. I'm going to use the TheraBand handle. You can use a block, a half foam roller, a small step, even a club shaft if you need to. We need a light set of dumbbells. We're going to let our heels step up onto there, and we're going to perform that overhead deep squat with the arm raise, and we're going to hold our arms above our heads as we come back up out of the movement. So here's what that's going to look like. Point the thumbs away from the body. Let's slowly drop down with locked out elbows and up. Breathing out on the way down. And let's try to get a little bit more lift on those arms every rep. 8 as we work through this. Remember, you don't need a lot of weight. We just want some resistance to help get some length out of those lats as we raise our arms up over our head. This is also a good exercise for getting a little more extension in that thoracic spine. You're going to find it's going to improve with practice. 4 more. Stay with me. This is a little bit tougher than the others. You can manage it. 3, really lock those elbows out. That's important. We want to lengthen that let out as much as possible. 2, and when I lift my arms up, it's really important that you draw that belly button in to protect that lower back and get some core stability to keep your balance. Last one. Well done. Okay, we can place our weights off to our side or whatever we've been using for resistance. And let's go ahead and get back into that 4-point position and work that new move that we just learned. Let's find that neutral pelvis, lock those abdominals in, right arm out straight, thumb is up. I've got as much lift as I can handle. My toe is straight out. I touch the floor. I'm really squeezing that glute as I lift. 8, 7, be careful not to lift so high that I lose my glute contraction and arch my lower back. 3, and just keeping a stable spine and pelvis by holding in my abdominals. And 1, let's switch sides. Again, we'll start by finding that neutral pelvis, bringing it in tight. Let's go straight out, thumb up towards the ceiling, maximize the lift. Right heel up and down, squeezing that right glute. 5, breathing out as I do so. 6, 7, there's 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, and 12. Good job. Let's go back to that dead bug series. And let's work on getting some core strength and stability. At the same time, we work to lengthen out those lats so we can get a fuller width backswing. Let's get those arms and legs up. Hands above the chest, knees up at 90 degrees. So we're going to go right arm, left leg, and we're going to engage those abdominals to flatten out that lower back. Pull out on the origin of that lat muscle so it's fully elongated as we reach back. And we're going to try to lock out our right elbow and work that thumb as close to the floor as possible. With practice, you're going to find that your range of motion improves and you should be able to get your arm all the way back without bending your elbow. 8 more. 7, and it's important that you breathe out on extension. 6, just like I'm doing here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's switch it up. So now we're going to go left hand, right leg. Remember to pull that belly button in tight, and let's work it straight through the same series of movements. Really working to hold that abdominal engagement, to lengthen out our lats, challenge our core strength and stability. Reach back with a locked out elbow. 8, try to touch that thumb to the floor. 7, to stretch out those lats again. 6, very important here. 5, that's what we're working on. 4, 3, 2, you got 1 more. Excellent. So we're going to do that twisted prayer stretch with the stability ball one more time. Really lengthen out those lats as much as possible by combining all these movements and stretches. Okay, so let's start by getting into that prayer position where we're sitting back on our heels. And then I'm simply going to reach out and across, and I'm going to drop my head down like that. And I'm going to pull my hip away from my arm, the arm that's pushing the ball forward, until I feel that stretch all the way down the side of my torso up through my armpit as I work to lengthen out my lat. So I'm going to hold that for 5 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring it back up. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So start with your heels on your butt. Let's roll the ball out and then roll the left arm past the right. Drop the head and chest down and pull that left hip away from the left hand. So we get a nice deep stretch through that left lat. Breathe into it. We're going to hold it for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring it up carefully. Great stretch for lengthening out your lats and actually getting a good stretch through those obliques as well. So now what we're going to do is build on that hip internal rotation exercise we showed you those windshield wipers. Now we're going to add resistance with a TheraBand. So I'm also going to get you to find an object. We're going to use a foam roller. You can use a soccer ball or a volleyball, and you're just going to squeeze that between your knees. So let's go ahead and get back down on our back to start. And you're going to squeeze something between your knees. That's going to help keep the alignment. And then we're going to add the TheraBand for resistance. So here's how you're going to do it. You're just going to loop it around your arches, and then you're going to cross the band there. And I'm just going to use the TheraBand. And I want you to squeeze the ball, whatever you're using, or the foam roller. And we're simply going to keep that 90-degree bend at the hip and knees. I'm going to push out against the band while we squeeze the roller. This is going to make your hips burn a lot more, but we're increasing the challenge to try to get a little bit more strength and range of motion for hip internal rotation with this windshield wiper exercise with resistance. Breathe into each rotation. 5 more. 4, and don't lose the squeeze. 3, 2. I want you to push it out and hold it right there for 10. You're going to feel those hips burning. 9, 8, 7, 6, just like this. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and release that TheraBand carefully. Let's sit up. Remember, you can use a volleyball, a soccer ball, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be a foam roller. The foam roller just happens to be what I'm going to use for this process. So we're going to get back down on our back, and we're going to build on our glute strength. So we're going to get you laying out, calves and heels on the ball. A little about half your calf muscle up on the ball to start. Arms are going to be out by your sides. So first thing we're going to do is engage those glutes and abdominals. You're going to lift up along with me right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to alternatingly lift one leg and then the other. A left and a right is 1. We're going up to 12. 2. And we want to try to keep our lower body stable on that ball. There's 4, so don't rush it. You don't have to lift that high. Just enough to challenge your stability. Keep breathing, and don't lose your abdominal contraction. That's what's helping to keep our body on the ball. Right here. We're ready to progress. We're going to move just our heels onto the ball. Not yet, we're just learning. So let's start with this progression right here. 3, that's great work. Keep it up. 2, and 1. Good job. Let's release our feet off the ball. I'm going to show you a good exercise to build some strength in our abdominals and our obliques. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to lay you out on your back, and you're simply going to take one foot and cross it over the other like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bend this knee. We're going to lift it up off the floor, and we're simply going to curl up and across to get a little bit more strength in our obliques. Strong obliques are going to help us with our torso rotation. Key muscle there. So we're going to do 12 on each side. And you're just going to breathe out with your chin tucked in on your chest. Follow along with me for 6 more. 5, 4, a lot of floor work here. 3, let's get through this. These are important exercises. 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and cross the opposite leg over. And then we're going to start by bringing it up. I want you to support your head. Don't pull on it. Tuck that chin in and bring it up and over. Let's get some abdominal and oblique strength here to help us maintain that flex forward posture and help us rotate our torso in our golf swing. We got 7 more to go. 6, I'm breathing out as I come up. My chin's on my chest, and I'm not pulling on my head. I'm lifting my shoulder blade up with those abdominal and oblique muscles. 2 to go. And 1. Try that for a little bit more core strength. That'll help you maintain your posture in your golf swing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to line my body up again so I have enough room. I'm going to start with my legs up and my hands up right here. I'm going to let my legs drop off to the opposite side. So we've seen these before, this alternating arm and leg drop. And what we're going to do here is try to use this mobility exercise to get a bit more separation between our pelvis and our torso. So my legs are going to go one way. My arm's going to go the other. As I reach back with my arm, I'm keeping my elbow above my shoulder. We're going to do 12 on each side. It's a great exercise. It requires some core stability, but it also requires shoulder mobility and mobility in terms of separation between the torso and the pelvis. So we're going to keep working on this one. 5 more. Take your time and get that elbow up and back to counterbalance your body, your lower body movement as the legs drop over to the side. Again, you don't want to go so far that your shoulder blade comes up off the floor on this side. You're keeping that hand above the chest on the other side. 2, and 1. That's great. Let's go the other way. So my legs are going to go that way now. My arm's going to go back with my elbow above my shoulder. Again, I'm holding my belly button in the whole time. And I'm working through it. Breathing out as I come back to the start. 8, and really not losing that abdominal contraction throughout the whole range of motion here. 5, 4, 3, keep going, we got it. 2, great exercise for torso pelvis separation and for opening up that chest and the shoulder right here. Let's do 1 more. and then we'll go back to those resisted hip windshield wipers. Okay, so what we can do is just go ahead and take that foam roller or that volleyball, whatever you're squeezing. Let's get our heels up, 90 degrees. We'll take our band, and we're going to loop that around the arches of our shoes. Make sure that you have enough room with that squeeze that you can actually get the rotational movement we're looking for unobstructed. Okay, so light resistance on the band. Let's go ahead and push out. 10, 9, 8, just like that. 7, 6, 5, 4. Really breathe into that squeeze. 3, 2. Now push it out as far as you can and hold it against the tension in the band for 10, 9, 8. Those hips are going to start to burn. That's good. We're targeting those muscles. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, as I do that, I'm not releasing the contraction in my abdominals. It's critical that you maintain that. We practice proper core stabilization in all of our exercises. So let's go back to the straight leg glute bridge march. Again, we're building on pelvic stability here. So half your calf muscle and your heels on the ball, glutes engaged, belly button in, arms out by 45-degree angles at the shoulder. And we're just going to alternately lift one leg and the other, breathing out as we lift. Right there. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep it going. 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Okay, let's give ourselves some room. And let's go back to those figure 4 curl-ups that we were doing to develop some strength in our abdominals and our oblique muscles so we can better hold our posture in our golf swing. And we can get a little bit more power in our rotation when we swing that club. 10, 9, keep going. 8, remember, don't pull on your head. 7, just breathe out as you lift that shoulder blade up and across using those abdominal muscles and those obliques. 2, and 1. Good work. Let's go ahead and switch sides. We'll do the same thing this way now. So lift that leg up, hold it about 90 degrees. Let's hold that position, breathing into each repetition, chin tucked in on the chest. And keep going. 6, count them out with me. 5, chin is tucked in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's make sure we have enough room to do those leg and arm drops that we just worked on. Again, so let's start by bringing our hands up above our chest. We're going to bring this arm back down to the side as we drop the leg over. And my elbow on my right arm is going up above my chest. And I'm doing this so I can get some length on my pec minor, opening up that shoulder, so I'm able to better get my arms in a proper position at the top of my backswing. Again, we're working on a couple of different items in terms of mobility here. We're getting that torso and pelvic separation. We've got 3 more, then we're going to hit the other side, 2, and we're really opening up that chest and shoulder complex, and 1, so we can get a full width backswing in our golf game. Okay, let's go ahead and work the other side now. 12, let's breathe into it. 11, great exercise. 10 for separation and shoulder range of motion right here. 9, so we're going to work this one throughout the series. 8, and really hold those abdominals in while you do this. 6, you should feel that tension in those abdominals the whole time. You should feel a good stretch down on the left side of your torso when you do this. You're opening it up. 2 to go. And 1. All right, that series is great not only for core stability and strength, as well as torso pelvis separation. It's also good for opening up that chest and shoulder complex. So we'll try that for better internal hip rotation. That windshield wiper exercise is a great one. We're going to show you a few more variations as we get through this series and move through the whole progression of the golf-specific workouts. So let's go ahead now. What we're going to do is work on opening up that chest and shoulder complex a little bit more, and I'm going to show you a great exercise to help you with that right now. So you need a TheraBand, a stability ball, and you're going to need a point of attachment that's going to be stable and secure. I'm going to use the bike right here. You can use whatever's available in your workspace. Just make sure it's not going to tip over. We're going to start sitting on our ball, and what I'm going to have you do first is cross the TheraBand over to form an X with the band right here. Palms are going to be facing the floor. I don't want you to get too far away. We're going to adjust that as we go if we need more or less tension. First thing I want you to do is set your pelvic position, engage those abdominals, and you're going to go ahead and perform a row, and then you're going to externally rotate right there. Row and externally rotate. So what we're doing is we're engaging the shoulder blades, stabilizing them, and then we're working through that external rotation movement that's critical to getting our hands in the correct position at the top of our backswing. And while I'm doing this, I'm keeping a stable core, which is critical to maintaining our posture. So you can see it crosses over directly to our swing in this respect. 3, 2, you got it, keep going, and 1. Let's release that band, and let's hit those glute meads again with another variation that we built on with that straight leg lift in our side plank. We held it in the last series. Now what we're going to do is lift the leg up and down when we get into side plank to increase that challenge. So let's lift it up. Again, we're going to continue to build pelvic stability. We do 12 on this leg right here, up and down, without letting the hip drop. These are going to be a lot harder. If you're still struggling here, go back to the holds until you get a bit stronger. 2 and 1. Let's hit the other side, and let's keep it moving. Remember, this is how we attack those sway and slide faults and learn to perform a proper weight shift in our swing by strengthening our glute med. So hand on the hip, leg up and down. 11, squeeze those abdominals. 10, make sure you have enough room. 7, 6, 5, 4, keep breathing out. 3, 2, and 1. Again, not making sure that my workspace is clear can make it challenging. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go and teach you an exercise on the stability ball that's going to help you with your hip rotation, but it's also going to challenge your core stability. And this exercise is called the J stroke, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. So I'm going to get you to start by placing your thighs on the ball, walking your hands out a little bit. So my knees and my upper portion of my thighs are on the ball. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck my knees under my chest and bend them to form a J like that. I'm going to do 12 on each side. So now you can see my torso is stable, and to get that position, I actually have to rotate my hips independently of my torso. Great exercise to improve your torso-pelvic separation, but also to get some core strength and stability to help you hold your posture in your swing. 3 more, and then we'll hit the other side. 2 and 1. Let's reposition our body on the ball, and let's work the other side in the same movement pattern. Tucking the knees and rolling. Keep the elbows locked, just like that. 7. All the way back out. 6. You can take a break between both sets if the shoulders are burning too much. Let's work through this for 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Let's carefully roll off of that ball. So again, a great exercise to challenge your core strength and stability because we have our legs up on that unstable surface. And also a great exercise to help you with your hip turn by teaching you to separate your pelvis from your torso, because our torso is stabilized in that plank position when we go ahead and swing our club when we're at the range or on the green. So I'm going to show you a great stretch to open up the chest and shoulder now using the stability ball. While we're working on it, I want you to place your palm and your elbow flat on the ball. And we're just going to get down in this position here. And I want you to move the ball so that your elbow is just slightly above the position of your shoulder. And that's important because that helps us stretch out the pec minor muscle, which is the cause, in most cases, of having that rounded forward shoulder posture. I'm simply going to sink down until I feel that stretch through my chest. And we're going to count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Tuck your tailbone in. 2 to protect your lower back. And 1. Let's do the same thing on the other side. And let's open up that chest and shoulder complex a bit more. So remember, I'm actually rolling the ball out so my elbow is in front of my shoulder. You may not be able to see that from this angle, but I want you to keep that in mind when you get your body into position. Stretching out that pec and pec minor complex. Tuck the tailbone in and lean into it a little bit till you feel that stretch. And just breathe into it. We'll count it out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're using a combination of stretching exercises and active mobility work to help us get this position. We're looking for about 90 degrees or more to get no restrictions or limitations at the top of our backswing because of a tight shoulder complex. So that's how we're going to accomplish it. Let's go back through that whole series one more time. And let's practice it so we can have fuller width backswing without losing our posture. So first of all, we're going to sit on our ball. Let's get that pelvic position set, glutes and abdominals engaged, cross the band up. Get into that palms facing the floor, elbow up row, and we're going to start by performing the row and then externally rotating. So shoulder blades are stabilized after the row, and then we have a stable position from which to externally rotate those shoulders in as we work on increasing the range of motion in that movement that's so important to the top of our backswing. 7, good work. 6, really breathe into it and don't lose that abdominal engagement. 4, 3, nicely done. 2, and 1. Okay, release that TheraBand carefully. And let's give ourselves plenty of room this time. Make sure our ball's not going to roll into our way. Let's go back to that side plank leg lift combination. Let's really blow up those glute meads. So let's work to keep those hips up and lift that leg up and down for 12 each side. Count them out with me. 8. If you're still struggling, go back to the bottom leg being bent up on the floor until you get a little stronger. Remember, glute meds are important. We want to take out that sway and slide fault. 2 and 1. All right, let's switch it up. We'll hit the other side. Stack those feet up. Elbow up. Let's prop it up. Lift. 11, 10. Good work. 9, 8. And I'm breathing out on the left and holding my abdominals in tight. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's work on that J-stroke stability ball exercise I just showed you. Again, great for core stability and strength, but also really good for getting a better hip turn in your golf swing. So let's start by getting into that push-up position. Let's bring the ball up under our thighs and our knees. I want to start by tucking the knees under the body, keeping the arms straight. 9, we have to rotate the pelvis to get our legs into that J position. 7 more, and I'm breathing out every time I turn my hip. 6, lock your elbows. 5, hold your belly button in tight. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and set up for the other side. Let's bring it in, and let's do it the other side. More of the same. Breathe into that hip rotation. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, keep going. 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Let's roll off that ball. Now, if you're finding that you're not strong or balanced enough to perform that exercise, you can simply work on your hip turn by going back to laying on your back, placing the thighs on the ball, and doing those gentle ab rolls that we taught you in the first week, and then progressing to removing the ball out from under your feet and dropping the legs down side to side. As your core strength improves and as you get a bit better stability, you're going to find that exercise is not beyond you. So let's go ahead and use that ball. And let's stretch out that pec and chest complex. Remember, roll the ball forward so the elbow is above the shoulder. Sink down into it. Tuck your tailbone in to engage those abdominals. And let's count it out. Breathe into it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's roll it up. Hit the other side. Again, great stretch for opening up the chest and shoulders to help us get into that 90-90 abducted and externally rotated position at the top of our backswing. It's so important for getting a full width in that backswing. Let's sink down into it, get that elbow above the shoulder. Make sure you can feel it in the chest. And breathe into it for 10 with the tailbone tucked in. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great series for improving your shoulder range of motion and helping you out with your backswing. So now we're going to teach you some new single leg balance progressions. And we're going to do these in golf posture, so you're not going to need a wobble board for this. And these are great exercises. These can be done as part of your warm-up when you go out to hit balls in the range or just before your game. So what we're going to do is, first of all, start by getting you in your golf posture. I'm going to work from this side so you can see them in my flex forward position. Okay, let's set it up. And then let's get our weight evenly distributed over the heel and the toe of one foot. I'm going to hold it here, okay? If you're being challenged in this position, abdominals are in, I've got a nice neutral spine, and you're feeling unstable, then you're just going to hold this for 10 seconds. If this is easy, we're going to come up onto the toe and count 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop your heel. You don't need a lot of lift. We're narrowing our base of support. Pulling the abdominals. We're going to do that 3 times on each foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the heel. Let's come up again. Tuck that tailbone in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So all we're doing by lifting our heel is narrowing the base of support. We're in a golf-specific posture, then we're developing single leg balance by developing it, by actually utilizing that more narrow base of support to challenge our balance. So let's load in, get into our golf setup posture, tuck our tailbone in. Let's load into the right foot now. And what we're going to do is make sure the weight is at first evenly distributed, tuck in that tailbone, hold the arms out here, and we're just going to, if you're challenged, you can just hold this position while we work through the next series. If this is easy, then we're going to go up on the toe, and I guarantee this won't be easy the first time you do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop that heel. Let's bring it back up. Tuck the tailbone in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's drop the heel and bring it back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Now what you're going to notice in some of us is that one leg is easier than the other. And when we have a difference in single leg balance between the left and right side of our body, it affects our ability to perform a proper weight shift. We may hang back or generate a reverse spine angle as we follow through impact because we don't want to transfer our weight to our lead side leg. So there's a whole host of problems there So if you find that one leg is more challenging than the other, I want you to spend a little extra time trying to get the balance, your single leg balance, corrected so that you can perform a single leg balance hold with your eyes closed for at least 25 seconds on both legs. That's the ultimate goal. And that's ultimately what we'd like to see in every player, being able to close their eyes and hold that single leg position for 25 seconds without losing your balance. So there's something you can work towards, and I want to see an equal length of time being able to spend in that position with your eyes closed on each foot. That's really going to help you out in your swing, and I've told you why it will do that. So now what we're going to do is get back down into a side plank position, and I'm going to teach you another progression to keep attacking those glute meats. So here we go. Let's stack up those feet. Now remember, those glute med muscles are also important contributors to single leg balance. They help keep the pelvis level when we're standing on one leg. So if we have weak glute meds, you're going to find it really difficult to keep your balance. So what I'm going to do is hold my hips up, but touch my heel and my toe side to side without rotating my hips. A left and a right, or a heel and a toe touch is 1. And we're going to count out 12. We've got 8 left, 7, then I'm going to hit the other side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just like that. We're going to turn it over and hit the other side. Okay, let's prop our body up. Hand on the hip, squeeze those abdominals, toe to heel without rotating the pelvis. I don't want to lose my posture in this side plank position as we attack the glute meds with yet another variation to challenge the strength and stability of those muscles. 4 more. 3, keep breathing. 2, and 1. Again, glute meds, very important for single leg balance and for a proper weight shift in your golf swing, preventing that lateral movement that we don't want to see. We want to see purely rotational movement to optimize our swing patterns. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a new core exercise to really work on developing some strength to help us hold that flex forward posture that it's critical, so critical to maintain in our golf swing. So I want you to start with this leg extended out right there. The opposite leg is flat. We're going to start with our hands above our chest, and we're going to come up. We're going to reach up for that toe. And I'm trying to maintain that posterior tilt. And I want you to progressively work up a little higher. You don't have to get to your toe right away. The important thing here is that I don't lose that posterior tilt. So I started by pulling the crest of my hip bones towards my rib cage. It's more important that you hold that than it is to try and get that full leg drop and full toe touch if you can't maintain this position, because I know that you're no longer stable. So we want to work on being able to hold that contraction, because that's what's going to keep us in our posture and our swing. Okay, so we're just going to work through. As we get a bit stronger, we'll be able to get up a little higher. 3 more. 2, and 1. Let's drop the other foot. Key thing here is to tuck the chin in on the chest. If you're finding that it's bothering your neck, you can support your head with one hand. You can come up right there. But for now, if you're good, just keep that abdominal contraction tight, and don't let the gap go between the crest of your hip bones and the bottom of your rib cage. 4 more. 3, try to get those shoulder blades up. 2, and 1. I think you're going to find that a lot more challenging than what we showed you so far. And remember, you can limit your range of motion until you get a little bit stronger. It's critical that you maintain that posterior pelvic tilt by holding the engagement as you lower the leg and the chest back to the starting position of the movement. Don't try to force your range of motion at the expense of core stability, because if we see that in your golf swing, we know your swing pattern is going to break down. So again, exercise transfers directly over to your golf swing. Now I'm going to show you a different way to help release that TFL muscle down on the side of your hip, and that's going to help you a little bit with your single leg balance as well. When that muscle's tight, it affects the positioning of our pelvis, and it makes it really difficult to perform a proper weight shift and to maintain our balance on a single leg. Much the same as I taught you with the club, the search and destroy pattern. We're going to do a little bit of myofascial release. You're going to need a foam roller for this. I'll show you how to use it. So you're simply going to cross one leg over the other, and you're just going to roll up and down. And again, we're just looking for those tender spots, working down that IT band. That's the attachment. That TFL muscle attaches at the top of your IT band to your hip. And when that's tight, you get these tender spots or trigger points. We just want to roll those out a little bit. When we do the screening and we do flexibility assessments, we look for tight TFLs. We want to attack those because they do affect our single leg balance and our ability to perform a proper weight shift. So I just want you to roll up and down and slowly find all those tender spots and work each one out. Okay, don't be afraid to put your weight on it. When you find that tender spot, you're going to know. You'll be able to tell by the expression on your face and mine. So let's load it up and let's cross it over. Foam roller is a great tool for stretching. You can perform myofascial release work on your own. So let's just roll it out gently. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not comfortable. It's much like going for some deep tissue massage work, except you get to control how much you can take, not the massage therapist. So keep that in mind as we release our IT bands here. Okay, let's go back through that whole series one more time. We're up. Let's do that single leg balance drill in golf posture. So remember, if this is too easy, we're going to go up on the heel and the toe. And if you want to make it more challenging, increase the length of time that you stay up on the toe. We're going to do 3 sets of 5-second holds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop that heel back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do it again. Don't lose that abdominal squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The goal I want is for you to be able to stand on one leg with your eyes closed without losing your balance for 25 seconds on each leg. That's what all the top players on the tour can do. So let's keep our aspirations high and work up towards that. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And make sure to work on any right to left side differences in single leg balance so you can have a proper weight shift. One more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's drop it down. We're back into that side plank position with those alternating heel toe drops. Let's go. Keep those hips up. Count them out with me. 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep going. 6, and breathe out every heel toe touch. 2, don't let those hips rotate. And 1, again, we're really going to attack those glute medius. We want a nice stable pelvis. That's going to help us separate our torso from our pelvis and eliminate that lateral movement from our golf swing. So let's go. Here we go. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Good job. One more. And there it is. Okay, let's get on our backs and let's go to those pike toe touch. And remember, we want to work on maintaining that posterior pelvic tilt. So I'm not worried about how far you can go. I'm worried about how well you can maintain that tilt as we work through this leg lift contraction here of the lower abdominals. Don't sacrifice range of motion for core stability or sacrifice core stability for range of motion. Again, that just leads to loss of posture faults in your golf swing. 2, and 1. Okay, and it doesn't really help us get more strength in our abdominals to improve our game. So hands above the chest, chin on the chest. Let's go. Bring it up. Hold that abdominal squeeze. 9, breathe out on the lift. 8, 7, reach for those toes. 6, chin tucked in on the chest. 5, 4, it's getting harder. 3, 2, and 1. There it is. We'll finish up with a quick roll on our foam roller. Remember, great tool. This is just one way to utilize this. We have these available in the Pro Shop. Don't let the pain and tenderness scare you away from having one of these in your toolkit. It's a great way to help you improve your flexibility and mobility with these myofascial release techniques. Remember, we're working on releasing that IT band and that TFL so we have better balance on one leg. Okay, after you've worked out all those tender spots, and I guarantee you there will be more than one, go ahead and work the other side. Just take your time. When you find it, like right there, you'll know it. And really work it out till you feel those hot spots release. Again, great tool, foam roller, for myofascial release and improving your flexibility. So the last thing we're going to do now is work on thoracic spinal rotation. And to do that, we're going to need our TheraBand. I'm going to teach you how to perform a half kneeling chop. It's a great exercise to get a little bit more range of motion and to improve your core stability. So you're going to need a stable base of support, and you're going to need to cinch your band around it. So open it up, snap that band on, and then make sure you lock the handle in tight. And then snug it up tight to your point of attachment. Okay, once you've got that, I'm going to have you get down on one knee. And what we're going to do is keep a narrow base of support. My hips are square and facing away from here. I'm going to pull, so you might need to adjust the amount of tension you have on the band by moving further away or closer to it. You're going to pull and you're going to push. So I need a little bit more band to work with here so I can show you how this looks like. So I'm pulling and pushing. So I'm going to hold that handle now so it doesn't flop around. Pull into a push. That's a chop. Almost at a lift height. If you have a higher point of attachment, we pull down on a lower angle. Not really rotating. I'm reaching back behind me. Get a little bit of movement in my thoracic spine, challenging my stability. Pulling into a push. If you want more challenge, move further away, but you need to be able to go from a pull to a push with both hands. 2, and 1. Try not to let those hips open up towards the target or the point of attachment. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to put one foot up, narrow up my base of support, pull in my abdominals. I'm going to pull and I'm going to push. And remember, I want you to make sure that your point of attachment is stable and you're not going to pull it over. pull to push. Not a lot of rotation here for the first progression in this exercise. 3 more. 2 and 1. Great exercise for core stability, and as we progress to adding the rotation to that movement, it's a great way to get a little bit more movement in your thoracic spine. So we're going to need our stability ball, and we're going to do some glute bridge marching with a bent knee. So let's get our feet up on the ball, the soles of our feet, as we work through the last series for today's workout. We're almost there. Just hang tough. Remember, we're investing time in improving our golf swing and lowering our handicap so we can beat our buddies at the course. So here we go. Let's stick with the program. Feet up. Let's bring them in. We're just going to alternately lift one leg and then the other. Up and down, keeping those hips up. Arms out by your side. Left and right is one. Working on glute stability right here. That's so important for maintaining a proper pelvic tilt throughout our golf swing and our setup posture. 7. Keep the hips up, glutes and abs are tight. 9. 10. Good job. One more on each side. And that takes us up to 12. That's great. Let's go ahead and move our ball out of the way. And let's get back to some more core stability work. So now what we're going to do is a heel slide with a cross crunch to help build some more abdominal oblique strength to help us out in that flex forward, then rotary motion of golf. Here we go. 11, 10, 9, 8. One foot is grounded to start. 6, really working those abdominals today. 5, 4, we want to be strong in that flex forward posture. 3, we don't give it up when we go to make our backswing or our follow through. 2 and 1. All right, we're almost there. I know the abs are burning, but let's get stronger. Let's improve our game. We're making an investment in our game future here. 7 more. 6, 5, 4. Good job. 3, 2, really squeeze those abdominals, and 1. And the whole time when I'm doing that, I'm keeping the crest of my hip bones close to the bottom of my rib cage, so I'm really forcing that posterior pelvic tilt, working to maintain it the whole time. So what we're going to do now is show you another stretch to help you lengthen out that lat. You start with your hand on the ball and the thumb up. You're just going to go ahead and roll that ball out like that and sink down from the knees until you feel that stretch all the way across there. I'm keeping my thumb up, and I'm loading down onto my shoulder to help elongate that. I'm going to breathe into it. We're going to hold it for 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Hit the other side for 10, and we'll go through the series one more time, and that'll be a wrap. And again, remember, we're working on our golf swing while we're working in the gym. So enjoy your workouts because you know we're going to help you improve your game. Roll out, keep that thumb up, or sink down into it. Feel that stretch all across the back of the lat. It's tight right here. At 10, 9, keep breathing into it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That's great. Let's go ahead and work on that chop movement that we learned with the TheraBand in that half kneeling position to start. So let's get ourselves out far enough from the point of attachment that we have enough resistance to work with. We can hang on to that handle so we don't feel like it's flopping around. I'm keeping my hips and my knees facing away with a narrow base of support, and I'm pulling and pushing into it. Teaching you how to do a chop with this TheraBand. You can use a tricep rope or a straight bar if you're using a cable cross, but for now we're just going to teach you how to do it with the TheraBand because we don't need a lot of equipment to get the same results that are going to translate into improved performance in our golf game. Really, that's what we're trying to accomplish here. 5, improve our game. 4, 3, with physical golf-specific exercise program. 2, and 1. All right, I'm going to switch sides. We're going to hit the other side in the same manner. Let's get it done. Right foot is up. My hips are square, facing away from the point of attachment. I'm pulling and pushing into it. You should feel tension between your hands as I pull and push. 8, I'm trying not to rotate my hips. I'm really working to engage my abdominals to stay stable. I've got a narrow base of support to challenge that stability. 3 more. 2, and 1. Good work. Let's release that band. Let's get our stability ball. Let's attack those glutes again. Remember, the first 3 to 6 weeks, we are really working on getting a strong, stable core and strong, stable glutes, and as well as focusing in on how to correct those physical limitations that we've identified in our screening and made available to everybody in their exercise program right here with me. Everything we're working on is geared towards helping you with your game and based on those physical limitation screening tools that we've developed. 8, hips stay up, belly button's in tight. 6, just keep them coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, one more. Excellent work. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the core again. Let's really work those abdominals and obliques. We know those are critical muscles to maintaining that flex forward posture. So one foot grounded, chin on the chest, heel extended above the knee, slide it in, and bring it up and across. Breathe out with me. 9, let's finish them up. 8, really working on those abdominal muscles to get that shoulder blade up off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's switch it up. We're almost done for today. Let's be sure we don't miss any steps. We don't want to miss out on any opportunity to improve our swing as we work out right here. 6 more. Really squeeze down on those abdominals. Get that shoulder blade up off the floor. 4, 3, 2. Last one. All right, all we got left is that cross-body roll to stretch out that lat. So let's get that hand on the ball, thumb pointing up. Let's put our other hand behind our back and let's roll that ball out to the side and sink down on that shoulder with our body weight to really help stretch out those lats so we can get more width at our swing, our backswing. And we can take out those lats as a factor that could potentially limit our torso rotation throughout our entire swing, from backswing to follow through. Okay, we're going to hold for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring it up. Let's roll it out to the other side. And let's sink down on it. Keep that thumb up. Feel that stretch all through here. I put my other hand on my back here, and I'm going to breathe into it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. All right, we're going to sign off today with a couple of quick tips on how you can warm up before you go to hit balls in the driving range, using a couple of the exercises that we use for screening as a way to get your body ready to hit that ball. And here's what it is. We're going to just get one of your clubs, cross it over above your chest and your shoulders like this. Get into your address posture. And the first thing we're going to have you do is just practice torso rotations, keeping that pelvis stable. Remember, we utilize this test in the screening to see how well we could rotate our torso on a stable pelvis. So we'll do 12 of these. 7 more. 6, 5, 4. Hold those abdominals in tight. 3. We just worked on that the whole hour. 2. And a 1. Now we're going to hold our posture, tuck our tailbone in, and all we're going to do is rotate that pelvis side to side without moving our upper body. 8, 7, 6, 5. Good rotary motion. 3, 2, and a 1. So as you can see, these are great exercises. These are all golf-specific movements, and they're going to help you hold your posture and learn to separate your torso and your pelvis. So until next week, try those 2 moves to get you set up next time you hit the range or next time you start your game. Until then, this has been your TPI Golf Fitness Pro, Mark Coates. We'll see you next week.